Welcome to another Hero Arts video. Today I'm going to give you a basic introduction to Copic markers, and I'm going to do that by showing you how to color this young deer image. This is one of my favorite Hero Art stamps, and for the sake of time I went ahead and stamped it on white cardstock. This is Cougar Opaque Smooth White cardstock, and I use this for everything with stamping. It's great for inks and colored pencils and Copic markers. And I stamped it using Sukaneko's Memento ink. This ink works the best with Copic markers. Whenever you color with Copic markers, the ink from the marker will seep through your paper and you'll see it on the back. So you want to make sure that you color on a surface like this cutting mat or something where you won't ruin whatever's underneath the marker. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about the 3 different kinds of Copic markers. These can all be used together. It doesn't matter which kind it is. They all work fine together. There's the Chow, which is the smaller one, and then the Sketch, which is the medium one, and then the Original. And the Chow and the Sketch both have these brush tips on one end, and then the Original, you can tell these lids fit really tight, which is great because then it's airtight so they don't dry out. I haven't had these dry out yet, and it's been 102 degrees here in Texas. But anyway, the Original has a bullet point. So here they all are 3 again, the 2 brush points and then the bullet point. Let me put these back on. And then they all have a broad tip on the other end. Here are the markers that we're going to use today. There's 2 browns to color the deer's body, and then a pink to color the ears, and then a colorless blender, which I'll talk more about later. So let's get started coloring the deer. I'm going to use the bullet point end, and I'm just going to make small circles and work in sections. So you just make small little circles like this. And here, I'll turn this so that you can still see the back, but just keep coloring, 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 making small circles. So there's the body, and here I'll show you what I meant by the seepage. See how it seeps through onto the other side, and this is how you know you're laying down enough ink and you're doing it correctly. So you want to see that seepage on the back. So now I'll just go ahead and finish coloring the legs. Okay, so for the sake of time, I just went ahead and finished coloring the deer, and I just worked in sections doing the tail, the legs, and the face, and the ears. And now I'm going to take the pink and just add some color in the ears there. And now I'll show you the fun part, and that's blending. So to do the blending, you'll need the original light color that you started with, and then a darker color in the same family. And you can tell the family names by looking at the labels. The light color here is E33 Sand, and then the darker color is E37 Sepia. So since these are both E, and they're pretty close together in the numbers, you'll know they'll work good for the blending. So always start with your light color like we did here, and then you'll want to add the darker color where you want to do the shading, and you'll do this in sections too. Pick a side where you think the light should be coming from. I always like to have my deer kind of have a little bit there coming, so the light would be coming from the left. And then after you've applied your dark color, you want to go back in with the light color, and you color right over top of the darker color, and then just pull it out, and you can see that blending there. And since this is such a small image, it might be harder to see, but this works really great on the larger images too. So there's that. And then I think I'll go ahead and add a little bit here to the rump. And add this in here. Go back in with the light. And you can keep doing this, like putting dark and then light and then dark and then light until you get it how you want it. But I usually just do it one time. And then I think I'll do a little here on the tail, just like a little touch right there. And then go ahead and blend that. And then a little bit in the chin. I keep turning this so hopefully you can see it pretty good. So there's a little bit there. And then go back in with the light color to blend it. I just went over the side a little bit, but that's alright. I'll show you how to fix that in a minute. Okay, that's starting to look pretty good. And the legs are so skinny, it'll be really hard to see any blending on them, but I think I'll put a little bit right there. And you don't need very much when you have a small area like this, but you just keep blending, blending, blending. And then maybe a little bit more on this front leg right here. There we go, that looks pretty good. And you can also go back in with your original light color too, and it'll make it a little bit darker. Alright, there we go. And next I'm going to show you the magic blending pen. Now notice we just did the blending here with the two browns. And the blending pen is kind of a bad name for this, the colorless blender, because it's actually not a blender but a remover. So this lets you remove color. So right here where I made this little mistake, I don't know if you can see that, I'll hold it up. There's a little bit of brown that went outside the lines. You can use the colorless blender to remove that color right there. So let me hold that up so that you can see. And then another cool trick that you can do with this is make patterns and designs. You can make plaids or stripes, and a fun one for this little deer is to just make dots, and this will really show you how it removes the color. I'm just going to touch the tip down on the deer, and you'll see how it's removing the color there on making little dots. So I'm just going to go ahead around and some over here on the legs. And if you want any of these to be even lighter, you can just go over it again until it gets to how you want it to look. And I'll hold that up so that you can see. And as you can see also, let me put this over the deer, the tip stayed clear. So if you wanted to use this on another color, I have some samples here, the tip will just be fine. You can just move right from one, so there's the blue, and you can go right from there over to the orange. And that's it for the video. I hope you give Copic markers a try and start out with something small like this little cute deer. Thanks for watching.